It was a cold December night.
Welcome to Behind the Slate, where I sit down with fellow voice actors and other industry artists to have a fireside chat. I'm your host, Christian O'Boyle. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website at christianoboyle.com. In this episode, I'll be talking with Dave Soltura, a professional voice actor based out of the Philippines. He auditioned for his local anime channel's TV segment, The Dubbing Academy, and was one of the 8 selected contestants to participate. Since then, he has voiced in hundreds of telenovela episodes locally and has sent in over 400 paid recordings to his U.S. clients. When not voice acting, Dave serves for his church, hits the gym, studies guitar and cello, and dotes on the love of his life.
Oh, my sister was supposed to become a doctor because I come from a family where my dad is the doctor and there's 4 of us kids, and I was supposed to be like the golden ticket, the last chance to become a doctor, to inherit the lineage, the Soltura lineage, but nah, not gonna happen. I
Sorry,
was
Dad, I'm gonna be a voice actor.
Sorry, Dad, you're gonna be a voice actor. Exactly. I spent like 2.5 years taking up nutrition, which would have ended up as me being a doctor, but nah. Uh, Dramatic story, so to speak. I have this terror professor who's like reading the grades, and she's like, the lowest grade in this exam is 36. And I was holding that paper. I'm like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Get me out of here, please. So yeah.
So
That's what
how did you fall in from that into voice act or just acting in general?
Oh, from that into voice acting. Oh well, the long story is, it was a cold December night. My brother and I was like a really dark. There was a power outage, and we uh, we were fans of Are Real Monsters. You know that show from Nick way back. I was like 6 years old. Got into this closet, and we started doing voices, and that's where the whole foundation was set up. We were role playing without knowing the official term for it, and we would just really visualize all these worlds. And as they say, when you don't see anything, that's actually when you see everything. Yeah, trying to sound profound here. Yeah.
We lock ourselves in a booth. You have to
Lock yourself
justify
in
it somehow.
it was a closet, but yeah, now that I think about it, it's kind of like a booth if you think about it. Yeah.
Most people's
And our
booth
world.
is a closet.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a closet for a booth for some time, and our worlds would just overlap. And I was taking up children's theater as a subject when I eventually changed my major to theater. And one of the things that I learned is that kids at a very young age don't really interact with other kids in the sense of like real communication. They have their own little worlds, and the other kids have their own little worlds, and they're like, no, this guy isn't Hammer Hunk. He's like gym buddy. Like, I don't know. They have different terms for things, and they just don't get along. But in a few rare instances, you have something that happened between me and my brother. We just connected, and before we knew it, it's like, whoa, it's becoming a thing. And we did it for like 20 years until I was like in college. We were still doing it, and just life happened. We got busy. But yeah, I shifted courses eventually. I was a nutrition major, and I found that the lowest grade is 36, and I'm like, oh, I don't belong here. About that time, my oldest sister was telling me, "Hey, Dave, there's this thing called Dubbing Academy. Why don't you give it a shot? You're great at doing those anime voices, right?" I'm like, "Oh, what is this thing?" And I see it. It's on. There's this poster, this digital poster. It says, "Calling all wannabe voice actors," or something like that. Yeah, it's like from our local anime channel. And the first requirement is must reside in Metro Manila, which is the big city in the Philippines, the capital, right? And I'm like, wait, I don't live in Manila. I'm in the province, like 3 hours away. But the second requirement said must be willing to attend workshops in Metro Manila. And I'm like, okay, between the first one and the second one, which should I follow? The second one says if I'm willing, that would do the trick. So I went for that. and gave it a shot. And hallelujah, praise God, I made it. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
That's so cool that you just kind of fell into it. You
yeah,
didn't even you've been practicing it and didn't even know what it was, and then next thing you know, here you are landing in this
yeah.
academy.
Exactly. It was nerve wracking. It was like my challenge was I'm actually better at English than I am in at Filipino,
Mhm.
and it is a Filipino channel foremost, and
Okay.
like we have the whole people are fans of Western animation and Funimation and all these things, and I was on that side of voice acting, but the show had to do a lot with the local side of things, which I did get exposed to anyway when I was younger. But
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah,
Awesome. So, how long have
awesome.
you been voice acting for?
Not counting the whole closet thing. Officially, my first paid gig was in 2012,
12?
2012.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
12.
it's
Yeah,
been 7 years. How long have you been doing it
7 years.
professionally?
Yeah, I would say I would like well like what do you mean by that? Because I got my first professional project in 2012.
Professionally to where do you do this full time?
Right, to the extent it sustains me.
Yeah.
2016.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'd
Wow.
say so.
So
2016.
within 4 years you were able to do this full
Yeah,
time.
give or take 4 years.
Awesome.
It did start off with the whole like you only get a few projects every now and then, like once every few months,
Mhm.
and gradually working on a proper business model. It eventually led to like weeks and then days and hours.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, I had to declutter that as well. Like, okay, I'm getting too much work. Let's kind of bump up our prices so we're not overworking here.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you've also
Hmm.
worked with Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, I believe.
Right. Locally.
Locally. Okay.
Like Southeast Asian versions.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Southeast Asian version. Yeah, one of the things that I've learned is to like bloom where you're planted. And I realized that actually in a country that is like you said mostly most of us kind of talk like this.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is no, it's not necessarily bad. It's the way we sound. It's our natural accent, so to
Mhm.
speak. But it in a sense, it became a bit of an advantage here because people still do look for that somewhat of a North American sound ish kind of thing.
Mhm.
Since we do have roots, we were colonized and all these things,
Mhm.
and usually we're just like 10 years behind, 5 years behind in terms of trends. What happens over there will eventually happen over here in the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
So we just follow that.
So,
Yeah.
well, you could go, well, they're doing a fashion trend over there, and I have all my friends over there. So I'm going to be the first one on board.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. And honestly, even locally, the whole demo reel thing isn't really much of a thing yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I heard from like Gravy for the Brain that there are different kinds. Usually in the states, you have the agency system,
Mhm.
but then there are other countries with a studio system, which
Right.
is you sign up for an agency or a production company.
Mhm.
You record your voice there for a while, and they send your voice to producers. It works a bit differently, but a lot of countries are like that. The Philippines is one of those places.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've reached out to a couple Philippine production houses and stuff like that, trying to get on their roster.
Sweet.
But a lot of times they're like, "We don't do international." I was like, "Dang it!"
Right. That's where it's a little bit different as well. Everyone's like, "Oh, come on! Now's the age of Source Connect, where we've moved on from IPDTL and ISDN.
Mhm.
Now it's Source Connect, right?" And so we're part of this organization called Vocal Alliance. It's kind of like the closest thing we have to a local union. Not
Mhm.
quite a union, but we do have like a standard rate sheet and everything, like just to keep the industry alive and well.
Mhm.
But and when we tell the studios, like there were discussions going on, like, okay, so there's this amazing technology called Source Connect. When are we gonna have to stop going to the booths
Right.
in the city? Because yeah, the city of Manila, it's a fun-filled city except for traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really, really dense place. It could have used a bit more city planning.
Well,
Yeah, so yeah, you travel for like 1 kilometer within the city could take an hour if it's rush hour and all those
Ooh,
things.
ooh,
Yeah,
that's rough.
kilometer. We use the metric system here.
Yeah. I kind
Yeah.
of know my conversions a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a mile is like 1.6 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, that's rough." That's rough.
It is pretty rough.
Um, so recently you started a 90-day accountability challenge,
Mhm.
where you have a group of voice actors. I'm one of
Right.
them. That's how we met officially.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
Um, Now, how has that been going to challenge to have the voice actors set their own challenge of where they want to see themselves in 90 days and then being accountable to share that with their group so that everyone kind of encourages them to kind of keep going.
Right.
How has that been going?
How's that been going? Actually, this is the third time I've done an accountability challenge
Okay.
group. Yeah, and I've had a bit of experimentation here and there, how what works, what does not.
Mhm.
Back then, I've had a group that was like tight, like just 8 people, and it was really like, hey, what are you doing? Another one that was much bigger, like was like in a 40 people, and this one's like in the sweet spot, right in the middle.
Mhm.
Okay, so the thing with like I'm a strong believer in accountability because, we're not perfect. And as voice actors, we're used to being lone wolves. Like, yeah, we're our own accountant, we're our own everything, janitor.
Marketer,
We do,
brander.
we market our brand or we do everything,
Mhm.
right? And what happens is we're so cooped up in our own little booths and we forget about everyone in the world. But an accountability group allows you to really set your eyes on your goal,
Right.
and it helps when you visualize. There was a study about like 2 groups of basketball players, and one of them was asked to like shoot the hoops for 2 weeks. The other group was asked to imagine shooting hoops for three weeks. Just imagine, just as intensely. And what they found is that both groups improved their shooting rate by 30%.
Hmm.
Both. The one with actual physical activity, the other one did not.
Mhm.
So that's the power of vision. Just really imagining things gets things going. And
Mhm.
I believe in things like vision boards. Oh man, I had one like in 2012, and one of them was like a picture of an ointment, and here it is.
There it is.
Yeah, like specifically the U87. Like everybody's getting a TLM 103. Maybe I should just get that, but no, it has to be the U87 because that's what's on my dream board. And I remember my mentor, who is the Filipino voice of Son Goku. Yeah, in our local TV channel, he was like, "Dave, you see that over there? That is a Neumann. What's a Neumann? It's just the pretty darn most expensive mic you'll ever get." I'm like, really?
Can I
Ooh, shiny. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, have you seen improvement as you have gone through it 3 times now? Have you seen
Right.
improvement for yourself and then even seen improvement for the other voice actors a part of it?
Absolutely. I would say that the first one was more successful because it was tight. Okay. The second one was incredibly loose, but the first one had more burnout because, like, hey guys, where are you? People are scrambling. But the first one was incredibly strict in that I would like religiously post every night and I did not miss one.
Mhm.
I really just went on with that. But I was realizing that as people kept seeing me post, it had the reverse effect that like, this is just me, but I kind of talked to a friend about this and they kind of agreed, man, Dave is going at such a fast pace. I can't keep up. I'm I missed a day. He didn't miss a day. I quit.
Right.
So like towards the end, there was a bit of a falling out. Like, no, we can't do this anymore. So this is why I personally took a step back from religiously posting because I don't want to create that impression, but still regular enough just to be like, like I'm like one of you guys. I'm not setting the pace. Oh, and the way it worked back then was once I created the post, they would create their um their reports under that post as a comment.
Oh, okay.
It used to be like that. So it also was kind of like waiting on me. So no, let's not do it that way. Let's just, you know, have everyone post when they want to, you know, they have a bit more control when they want to. And okay, this is what I found. The first time I did it, hallelujah, I did meet my financial goal,
Awesome.
which was to make at that time an no, not an extra, just a flat $2,000. Yeah, working this little. Yeah, and it happened.
Awesome.
It happened. It was like, wow, I never thought it would actually happen, but it worked. But then again, for everyone else, it wasn't necessarily the same. So I'm looking for a different approach here. That's more like it really has to be a team effort.
Hmm.
You know, the skein, the bird formation,
Hmm.
like when you see all those birds lined up, with the aerodynamics actually has them fly farther when they're flying together,
Right.
right? So it's kind of like that. I'm looking for something like that.
I like that analogy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of other voice actors kind of burning out, have you ever felt yourself about to burn out and to give up?
Oh, absolutely. Even when I started out, I quit a project. I was cast twice. Okay. So when I was in Hero TV, that's what we call it. It's like Filipino Funimation or something. Uh, I was part of like Kuroko no Basket, Kuroko's basketball, Filipino version,
Hmm.
and by like the third episode, I was out because I said like I was a student, by the way. I was a student with a really tight theater schedule, and I could not put two and two together. And like, okay, I told my director, I'm sorry, sir, but I really can't make it today. I have exams. Is it possible to have our schedule moved? And he's like, sorry, Dave, but you've been replaced. I'm like, wait, what? What? You know, so that's part of it. You know, you got to be professional because availability is the best ability.
Hmm.
Like success is just showing up 80% of the time, you know. Okay.
Sure.
Um okay, not showing up 80% of the time, but 80% of success is just showing up, or so they say,
Yeah.
you know. And then after that, okay. I'm wondering now because I just got my foot in the door of the industry, are they still gonna get back to me?
Right.
But they did about a year later, and this time it was for Digimon. Okay. Digimon Fusion, they call it. The other version they call it Cross Wars. Anyway,
Hmm.
I I was such an introvert back then. This new voice actor, young and upcoming voice actor, still afraid of the mic. Like, what is this doohickey? What distance? All these things, and I'm surrounded by vocal behemoths, like veterans who've been doing this for decades. Excuse me, for decades, and I'm like, who am I to be in the same booth as them?
Right.
And I won't mention names, but there were times that I'm pretty sure they were good intentioned, but I've been raised in a theater culture that's like, no, you do not direct your fellow actors. But it happened to me a couple of times.
Hmm.
Like, no, you're doing it too slow. This is how you do it, kid. I'm like, okay, right. This is not what I'm used to. Okay, but I'm maybe culturally, it could have been appropriate for that context,
Hmm.
maybe. But as a young voice actor, I was okay. But then again, I could have been more sensitive to the criticism. We could all learn from good critique. I was still just starting out though.
Hmm.
Um, but basically, by the 40th episode, also there were a lot of um I just I don't know. There was something bothering me at that time. I was going through a certain phase probably because there was so much to adjust to. So by like the 40th episode, I had to tell my director, uh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't think I can do this anymore.
Hmm.
I in retrospect, it's like, what? I dropped a national scale project. Why would you do that? Why? Like in retrospect, like bad day, bad day. People would die to get to where you were, and here you are just giving up, you know?
Right.
But you know, we all learn from our mistakes,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's okay to fall down every now and then as long as you don't stay down.
Right. Right. I've
So,
definitely seen people who might need to take a step back for a breather, um,
right,
but they disappear for even 6 months, we'll say. And they come back
right,
and 6 months off, even 3 months off, will put you back in your
right.
progress almost by a year or more or less, again, depending. But
Wait, just say that again.
it could put you back your progress that you have made. If
Right.
you take 3 months off, you could then be back a full year. You might have to
Oh
work
yeah.
an extra year to catch up to where you were.
That is true. That is true. Like I took a Twitter hiatus for a while and had like, you know, like, oh, I have like X number of followers now. And you know, sometimes you look at your friends. How many followers does my other friend have right now?
Right.
Okay. By the time I'm back, like, wait, he's got double the followers now. What happened?
Yeah.
Like, what did I miss out
You're like,
on?
wait, I just lost 100. What?
Or, well, strangely, I actually gained like 300 since I took that hiatus. I don't know why.
There you go.
Maybe hiatuses are good. Yeah. You
They're
just slow
good
down
for
a
the
little.
soul.
They're good for the soul. Absolutely.
There you go.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned to reprioritize in a sense that not to just dwell on voice acting as everything. It was like work, work, work. I was like New Year's, I was at home sending 70 emails to people. Like, but who's gonna reply in New Year's?
Yeah.
Yeah, who would reply to that anyway?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, you know, I leave it to Providence to provide for me because sometimes, you know, you put in all the work. Sometimes that's not what determines what you get.
Yeah. So during the time of burnout and kind of needing to breathe, but not knowing how, what is something that keeps you going? What is something that when you're feeling down, you're getting pulled down, what is something that keeps moving you forward?
Honestly, back then, um, I was driven solely by passion. I was driven by, you know, everyone's all about, hey, live your dreams, do what you want, pursue your dreams. And I was so boxed in to that concept that I was such a radical that even when I graduated, I didn't claim my college diploma for 3 years just just to say, hey, as voice actors, we don't need that expensive piece of paper. um, at that time, I was so driven by just work and passion, and my sense of self-worth was attached to my accomplishments and
Mhm,
the amount of money in my bank account.
mhm,
And I just realized like, hey, there isn't there more to life? Is there more? So around February this year, certain events happened in my life, and I realized that, you know, passion is great. It keeps you happy, but there's more to life than chemicals. I want to live for purpose.
mhm,
Now, passion is great, passion and purpose.
mhm.
Why not have both? You don't have to choose. So, well, for one, of course, like I said, I have my dream board and all. One thing is, ta-da, this is a photo from a photo booth at a wedding with my now girlfriend. She's like clingy, really clingy over here. Yeah, it's like stuck to my booth. I have a bunch of other pictures here just to keep me inspired. So of course, remembering the people important to me, wanting to retire my parents, and they work so hard. They're both self-employed. My dad is a doctor, my mother is an optometrist, and you know, if you're self-employed, you don't have all these pension plans, and you stop working when you're dead, or so they say.
Yeah.
You know, but ultimately, I have found my strength in the Lord. You know, that's really where I draw my strength now. Because back then I used to work like a horse. I still do to an extent, but back then it was like seeking validation for my work, using work as my source of strength. But that's just not how it is.
Right. No,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think having, in my opinion, having a relationship with Christ, in my opinion, helps refocus. Like you said, you're not focusing on validation, you're not focusing on success, you're focusing
Right.
on a family, God, even friends. Because
Absolutely.
I even felt myself overworking, and I actually went through a depression slump. Uh,
Oh,
and it was n- just a week, so it was just one of those just weeks where I just felt off and stuff like that. And I figured that I overworked myself, took my focus off my family, which actually occurred more than a week. It was, say, several months of without focusing on family, focusing on my faith with Christ, and just focusing on getting further and progressing and new project. I got something else. I got this, and I
right.
overworked myself. And then I sat there going, what was the point? I didn't.
Right.
I mean, yes, I did continue growing my business, but that could have still happened without overworking myself and without taking the additional time away from my family and what is really important. So refocusing, it kind of helps solidify
Yes.
what I'm doing. And
Absolutely.
honestly, I think it's, again, one of the things that drives me. Um, Now, I run into this quite frequently, and I'm sure you have ran into it. As a Christian, as a believer, how do you deal with scripts that generally go against your faith?
Oh, as of late, I honestly turned them down because I once took on a project that was, just completely on the opposite spectrum of my morals compass.
Hmm.
And after taking that, I was convicted. And if I'm gonna be known as a voice actor, is this what I want to be known for? And what kind of a message am I sharing doing this project? And
Hmm.
it's just it doesn't work for me. I had a certain pain inside,
Hmm.
and I have regrets. And sometimes, like to an extent, that is one of the most that's the one of the projects most associated with my name right now. And
Hmm.
I just want to say that as a believer, I don't condone things about this project, but the people behind it are very professional.
Hmm.
Um, but now it has served as a testimony to some of my friends to learn to say no.
Hmm.
Not everything is an opportunity. It may be great for your bank account, but you could be spiritually bankrupt
Yep.
afterwards.
Yep. I've
Yeah.
definitely ran into several projects where I personally had to create a excuse on why I should do the project. Um,
Right.
and I'm
I
like, well,
understand.
it's not crossing my comfort line. It's still not there, but it's like basically gray area, like stepping on the line. And
Right.
sure, was that project a great project? Yeah, it was a great project. Like you said, great professional people, great experience. It was one of my earlier projects I started a year and a half ago. So I was still new in the industry. So to
Right.
say, to feel that I could say no again was, I didn't know if I should or could. And now, if there's something that comes up that I'm uncomfortable with, I will either just not audition for it, knowing
Right.
what it is. If obviously you get a script and you look at the script and you go, I'm not comfortable what's in the script. If
Or
there's
is
something like a curse word in the script that I would not be comfortable with, generally will talk to the director and say, hey, is there a way that we can change this? Is there a way we can use a
yes,
different word?
exactly.
Because I don't feel
Right.
comfortable saying this.
Right.
I know it happens. I know it's going to be in the project. I'm not against that. I just personally am
Right.
comfortable saying that. A lot of times, a lot of directors are more than willing to change words and stuff like that.
That's just the more tactful thing to do,
Yeah,
without coming off as really rude.
yeah. And obviously, if the entire game or entire character is not what I would be comfortable doing, then that's when I would generally reconsider, one, should I even audition for this project, which I
Right.
don't, or I don't actually, or B, do I have to, if I got the role, to back down or to deny it? I don't know what the right word is,
Right.
but
Right.
just to
Right.
say, hey, I don't think I'm going to be right for this, and just being strong enough,
Yeah.
for sure.
Or, yeah, like I'm not a good match for this or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would use similar wording. In fact, just yesterday I encountered another one of those scripts. It was an e-learning script, saying that the whole practically we came from apes and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. It was about the solar system but being really old, and I'm like, okay, this view, it was really great production value,
Mhm.
3 minutes long. By the way, this is not under NDA, so I'm allowed to say this. Yeah. It was like 3 minutes long, and this is great stuff. It's teaching kids about the solar system, but then it goes on to say that, okay, it's been billions of years old, and okay. Um, as I message them and say, this is great stuff, and you're teaching kids here. I would be fine proceeding with this if you were to add that there is another view that says that it is much younger, like
Mhm.
several thousands of years
Yeah.
old, and the implication of that is that we are indeed created in the image of God.
Mhm.
You know, so yeah, there's that. We can be pretty flexible with that.
Yeah.
And there's a certain kind of integrity of knowing what scripts to take. It's so much better for the spirit.
Mhm.
And I take it on faith now because one of my guiding verses is the whole seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
Mhm.
That is so true. That is so true because um there's this huge client in the Philippines. Let's just say it's a rival to McDonald's, the local rival to it.
Mhm.
So they asked me like, hey Dave, are you available on this day to do a recording? And I'm like, wow, this is one of those big companies. But then the recording schedule was like right in the middle of Bible study. And I'm like, but I just recommitted myself to the Lord. I just told him I'm going to stop depending on my own strength. Is it okay to do this?
Right.
You know what? I'll take it on faith. Just this once, I'll say no.
Yeah.
I said no. They're like, oh, okay. I get to go to Bible study. 4 days later, hey, Dave, the project's still up. Are you still available? And I'm like, wait, are you telling me I turned you guys down and now you're coming back to me still asking if I'm available for this project? I give it a shot. I booked the gig. So like, hallelujah. Like
Yeah.
these things happen.
They
That
happen.
was a miracle to me.
Our timing is not the best timing. Sometimes
Yeah.
it works that way, and it is definitely to, because one of the things that I have felt, not conflicted, but I when I start new hobbies, because I have a lot of hobbies. When I start new hobbies, I
Right.
eventually turn into businesses because somehow they do.
Right.
Um, I always feel
Yeah.
conflicted. Is this where I'm being directed to go?
Oh my gosh, I can relate so much.
Yes or and so I just kind of go with it, and
Right.
based on voice acting, and again, it's hard for us to understand or know, but based on how quickly I developed and got into voice acting and got everything to build the way, with the Sennheiser
Right.
416, and kind of build
Ah,
this small business, how quickly and smoothly it has developed. I'm like, there is
yeah.
no way that I have done this on my own. There is no way that
Absolutely.
there is no little uh,
Oh,
hand kind of
yes.
guiding me through this. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this go, and whatever happens, happens. And sure enough, I mean,
Hallelujah.
Tony Weiss and I have started
Right.
a audio production company,
Wow.
which was initially, I did a demo with him. That's all it was. I said, "You're charging too little for your demo." I said, "You
Yeah.
need to raise your rate after I
Absolutely.
pay for the little bit, and then you need to raise your rate."
Yes.
And then from there, I said, you should probably take your demos and your voice acting and separate them. That way you can point
Hmm.
people to your demos and point people to your voice acting depending on the client. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
So we started working on that and we started developing. It was like, oh, what if this was this? And oh, what if you offered this? And it just kind of built up to where Immerse Productions was more than just demos. And then I kind of
Wow.
made the joke to him, was like, it's like I'm your co-founder or something. He goes, no, yeah, yeah, no, I definitely think you would be. I was like, no, no, I was totally joking. I was like, thank you. He goes, no, 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 no. I wouldn't be here without you. So yes, you're coming, you're coming on
Fantastic.
board with me. I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, Tony is a phenomenal person. I mean, he's just been so supportive in the community, and his acting is top notch. His demos are top notch. I say no more,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So we, sure enough, we co-founded Immerse Productions, launched it in May, and already
Wow.
have continued building the demos, which is obviously still his thing, his baby.
Right.
But then the casting side, I kind of
Ah,
just kind of poked around a little bit and said some things. I was like,
mm,
oh, we also offer casting. And they're like, okay, yeah. And it just kind of snowballed to where we're in the process of casting one project right now, and we have about
wow.
3 or 4 on the table,
Oh,
where we're in communication, where they're waiting, but
brilliant.
we're in this process of they're
I
finally
love
speaking
that.
with us, which is
Out of curiosity, like, what sector of the industry are these? Are these more like e-learning videos or are
these are
these indie
video
game
games for sure.
video games?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I
Oh,
I
man.
personally wish I could be doing more e-learning or explainer videos or commercials to kind of help compensate voiceover to, because unfortunately indie video games and animations, audio dramas
Right.
generally don't pay a lot unless you do a lot. So I'm trying to get a little bit more to compensate for everything else, because
Right.
obviously I love the indie video game
Yes,
um,
absolutely.
industry and stuff like that, but unfortunately it's just not, you're not going to make a living off of that.
Right.
Um,
Those things are the beating heart of the industry. They're the hook.
yeah,
Like, I wanna be a voice actor because I wanna be in this video game,
yeah.
right? That's usually how it goes.
And
Not because I wanna do this e-learning thing, maybe once in a
hey,
million
some people do. I
one
did
in
I talked to Sean C. Duriger, and he's
hmm,
a audiobook voiceover,
ah,
and
oh, wow.
he really focuses
Mad
only on
respect.
audiobooks and maybe a couple other things, but he goes, audiobooks is where I want to be. It's like,
Mad respect because even though I listen to a lot of audiobooks, I know they are not for me
not for me.
because I'm too perfectionist for the long form nature of it. Gotta record 9,000 words an hour, you're paid this much.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking like, can I just record like 10 commercials within that hour, record that audiobook?
yeah.
That's just the way I think.
I can't
But
even
yeah.
read long form
Yes.
fluently.
Yes.
I
Yes.
tongue
That
twister.
yes.
I would have so
Yes.
many mistakes. It just
Yes.
mm-mm.
Yes.
Put me
Yes.
in a
Like
booth with a picture and a script, and then just
yes.
create. Um, one
Yes.
of the things that
Totally.
I am, one of my goals, one of my dreams right now, my small dream is to go in a booth or like a studio. I've never been
Right.
in studio. So
Hmm.
one of the things is I would love to go in studio and maybe do ADR, even if it was just a small
Oh,
project.
yeah.
Yes.
That is my bread and butter,
Yeah.
ADR, honestly.
Timing is, I'm a drummer, so timing is
Oh,
so easy.
oh,
Um,
that is a big advantage for you, I'm telling
I've
you.
practiced some ADR just here and there, and I feel comfortable with
Wow.
it already. Um,
Yeah.
but what are maybe some of the complications of ADR?
Oh, okay. Well, some companies, use the beep system. There's like a and then your scene shows up. In my experience, this happens with ads. Sometimes they do this with ADR.
Mhm.
The companies that I work with in general use no, not Reaper. I use Reaper at home.
I love
Okay, but I
Reaper.
also have Pro Tools. I love Reaper. It's like a really light version of Pro Tools. Like Pro
Mhm.
Tools is just too much for the job to get done at home. Anyway, but they use Pro Tools at work. Sometimes they would use the beep system, but in general, in the culture we have here, we don't. So what happens is uh you just see your signal for when you should speak is the visuals, and once you start hearing the foreign language voiceover.
Mm.
So like, okay, you see the scene, the characters walking down the road, and you see them turn them like, the whole
Yeah.
sound, and sometimes like even if you don't hear a sound, some clients are nitpicky. We're still asked to like place those breaths there that you don't even hear in the original audio,
Right.
just to make it sound more real or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Complications, it is multitasking, like crazy multitasking. Cause and there's a lot of cold reading, like no previews. Okay, sometimes when you're starting out, they're like, okay, you can do a bit of practice. You're just a beginner, but no. In the long run, you gotta read scripts like you do sheet music, like your sight reading. I like to call it sight acting.
Right.
So so you're looking at the screen, you're looking at the monitor. You have your character assigned to you, like okay, Christian, you're gonna be man one, you're gonna be um Dr. Jones, for lack of better names. You're gonna be Dr. Jones in scene two. You have like about 8 scenes in this episode. Okay, let's do this. So like they go through the first scene, they look for your character, they drag the video to your character, and you start. Very little context for what's going on. What all you have is your script. Some old school directors would still use paper. Now we use tablets in general because the page flips. Like when you flip the page, that's recorded. That's heard. You don't want that. So it's just more efficient to do the whole dragging down, scrolling up kind of thing. So um you look at the scene, you see the exchange between characters, you see the dialogue in general gives you a bird's eye view of the kind of emotion and context required here.
Mm-hmm.
It gets so much easier to record for a project when you're like somewhere in the middle of the project already, because you're familiar with the characters. Like, oh, this guy already behaves this way. Oh, this is that guy from that other episode. You're just more familiar with it. It just
Right.
becomes second nature to you. But again, it's multitasking. You're looking at the screen. You have to time visually. You got to listen to the foreign language voiceover. You hear your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to pay attention to your own voice, and you also got to pay attention to the occasional nagging of your director.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
alongside complications, usually
right.
are joys and benefits and the passion of it. What are some joys
Ah,
you enjoy doing?
well, it is highly technical work. It does motivate me. Like, hey, this is pretty cool stuff. I can tell my friends I got this really technical thing going on. And oh my gosh, this is okay. This is a very emotional kind of thing, but ADR has in many ways, spoken to me like very directly through the stories.
Mm.
Like I was going through a rough time with my previous relationship last year, and it was a telenovela, and they were having a tough time with their relationship. And I'm like, oh, I can relate to this so much. And um, in our industry, we're paid by the episode. Some directors like to pay by the line, but in general by the episode.
Mhm.
So sometimes there are episodes where you only have like one line and you're still paid the full rate.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, this is one of those episodes where you just do one line. Like, yeah. Um, gotta love that. You actually, um, it when your character dies, it's a double-edged sword because of course you miss your character. Like, how was recording for this character?
Yeah.
But yeah, the confidence you're gonna be paid the same rate anyway.
Right.
So you're like, sometimes there's this one annoying character with like, oh, I'm so flamboyant and I talk really fast and oh, what's this? Yeah, all these things. And it's just so hard to sync to them. And like, can you please just die already? Yeah.
I don't want to do you anymore.
I don't want to record you anymore. Like, or like take a vacation, or like I sure hope there was some politics between this actor and he gets replaced and written out of the story, please. Sometimes sometimes there are moments like that, and there is the whole surprise that of course there's the whole challenge that it's like a big jigsaw puzzle that some studios there was an old system where you sit down, watch everybody, all the actors are there. This is called down the line dubbing. All the actors are there waiting for their turn in the waiting room. The booth is right there, and they go through the scenes one by one. Scene one, and as your characters appear, you go into the booth. When your character's out, you go out. When your character shows up again, you go inside again.
Oh, really?
And it just, yes, and it goes that way. That was a system because back then we only had analog. Yeah, and no, I did not get to experience analog. This is already secondhand information.
Mhm.
Only had two tracks. You have the music and effects and the voiceover.
Mhm.
You know, and as I hear, like back then, I mean, you only have one microphone. Um, you get a lower back workout because you're like, well, well, okay. When you're talking here, the other it's the other voice actor's turn. You know they're gonna talk. Whoops, they get closer to the mic. You step back. There's kind of that placement going on. It's like it's like it looks like an orchestra or something like, or a choir.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Japan, they don't do it that way. They all have their mics. Japan, send us your money, please. Okay, we need more money. If only all studios were like that.
Yeah.
But now there's the whole since we have multi-track technology, you just go in at your own time, and you just go through all your power through all your characters when your schedule is set.
Yep.
It's just so much better that way. Oh, and the suspense, because it is a jigsaw puzzle. You don't get to see the big picture. Sometimes I run into castmates. Oh, hey, what's your name again? Oh, hey, Claude. Okay, great. You're in the project too. Who do you voice? I voice Alejandro. Oh, I don't think we're in the same scenes together. Oh, okay, but yeah, great to see you, man. Like, I was like, okay, like our characters never interact, so like we kind of just say hi, bye. We were both in the same project, but never really working together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the only time we do meet is like at the cast parties thrown at the end of the project. But there is a certain joy to watching the story unfold. Like, oh my gosh, there's a telenovela called Cómplices de un Rescate, or Accomplices to the Rescue, they just call it. It's a kids' noontime show based in Mexico, I think.
Mhm.
But what happened was like, there's two sets of people. Anyway, I had a role. This is one of my favorite roles. I was a pastor. I was a young pastor in a small church, and one of my other roles was a fashion designer. And like in one project, and sometimes they would interact. This is so much fun. And yeah, sometimes you got to be you got to be a little schizo in that sense,
Yeah.
and like you really feel like Robin Williams. Well, we don't. Okay, sometimes directors would permit that if you have two characters interacting. Oh, hey, nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you too. And just doing that thing. But we rarely do that now. It's just okay. Let's go through this character first, and when we're done with that, let's go back.
Right.
So that the tracks are cleaner, and you don't have that tricky overlap going on. It's just easier to tweak that in post.
Of course.
Yeah. And the great part is like, so this pastor is like, he's got he falls in love with a priest's niece, and like, ooh, what's gonna happen here? Like, it's just a very interesting, spicy story that goes on for like 280 episodes, and you're on your toes. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? You, especially for the longer projects, your emotions get invested.
Right.
Emotions get invested. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And you look forward to, like, it's not like, oh, tomorrow it's another day, I'm gonna work again. I rarely ever have that feeling. It's more like, oh, I'm going back to the city, I'm gonna record again, and I wonder what's gonna happen to my characters.
Yeah.
I wonder if I arrive at the scene, my director's there, he has me settle down. I'm like, hey, what's gonna happen to the guy now? Oh, you'll see. I was like, okay, let's do this. So I'm recording, and like, I'm recording from a character, and I walk in like, hey guys, I get shot, like, like, wait, I die here? Wait, what? Like, what happened? Like, there's that kind of suspense and sometimes when you get attached to the character so much, you're like, as you are shot, there's some genuine surprise there because you hadn't read in advance. So it does help sometimes not to do cold reading because the surprise is more natural, and you're just reacting to everything,
Right.
rather than doing everything premeditated.
Right, of course. That's
Right.
that seems like a
Just
lot of fun.
it is a lot of fun. And, in general, stability.
Yeah.
Commercials, they pay big, but, they come, like,
One one and
once in
done.
a while, one and done. Projects like these, they sustain you for a while, 6 months, 8 months, sometimes just a couple of months, but, you know, and you only get paid a certain amount per episode, but it's a bulk project,
Yeah.
it keeps you busy.
Yeah, for sure. Now, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my gosh. Oh, simple. Working at most 4 hours a day,
Hmm.
okay, not including weekends,
Hmm.
with my beautiful wife. Yes, I'm pretty set on who that is gonna be. I know you're listening. You're gonna see this video later. It's you, just you. Anyway, um, full control of my time, the power to say no to any project because you're no longer you're following the beggars can't be choosers mentality.
For sure.
It's your business. You design how it goes. Of course, there is a designer who controls it, but to an extent, you have to manage
Of
it.
course.
Um, and earning enough such that you could just spend time with family and even in the more on the purpose side of things, having a wider influence, more credits that add credibility, so more people are reached by the very important message of the gospel.
Yep.
I'm very excited when I get those kinds of projects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
those are the
awesome.
best.
Um, Speaking of projects and um, kind of credits, is there a project that you're most excited about that you can talk about, or one that just released that's out that you can talk about?
Ugh, eh, ugh, ah, I
NDA,
wish I could
NDA.
talk about them. They're everywhere. And I used to be so frustrated about NDAs. Like, why would they even do that? We don't even get an audience. We don't, can you at least give us credit? Could you at least let us talk to our friends? At least let us stream our recording sessions,
Right.
which I used to do. By the way, don't do that, guys. There is no integrity to streaming to your friends, your sessions. Just assume a lot of things are covered by an NDA.
Mhm.
Um, um, oh gosh, most of them are local. I really want to talk about them, but I can't. I just
That's why I always like put the if you can talk about it, and if you can't talk about any of the ones, if there is one that has been released that you can talk about that you are excited.
there is one that I should be able to talk about right now. It's called Because of You. It's a Chinese drama. It looks yeah, it's beautifully produced. Yeah, I get to use my typical anime voice here, being the pretty boy and Chinese guy with blonde hair. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun stuff. It's got a bit of a revenge plot. I can live with that, but it, I don't know where it's gonna be aired though.
Right.
Some channel, probably in Africa.
Somewhere.
Usually, um, yeah. Bit of tip for everyone. The demand for like a general American accent is everywhere.
Right.
But also not like if you're sending voiceovers to the UK and Australia, they usually prefer a British accent or an
Right.
Australian accent within
Right.
those markets.
I've definitely noticed, and I think even my sister-in-law, she goes, "Oh yeah, no, the Philippines love the American culture. Like even weddings are based off of American culture and all this
Yes,
stuff."
pretty much.
So I was like,
Yes.
okay. So that's where I when I do try to market internationally, it's either um, the Philippines, Indonesia, um, places.
Great.
That's generally
Yeah.
where I'm at. Obviously, I'll
Yeah.
I'll do like
Yeah.
Dubai every once in a while, but that's kind of like
Sure.
my I feel connected even though I haven't been to the
Yeah.
Philippines yet. We have plans in a
Fantastic.
couple of years to visit the Philippines.
We should meet soon, brother, like
Yes,
whenever. But
yes. I would.
absolutely. That is one of my dreams is to to meet my online friends, to have the capacity to do that and
Oh,
just,
that'd be
you
so
know,
cool
that
for
would be
sure.
fantastic. I'm like, there's this whole Twitter community and this whole Facebook community, and everyone's over there. And I'm like, hi guys, I'm the guy from the Philippines.
I'm over
What
here.
time zone are you in again? Central, right? Right, Central. Yeah, right. So I
What
have
time?
this thing.
Yeah,
I have this app called Time Buddy now. Um, I can't live without it. I can't talk to you guys without it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, is it morning where he is? Yeah.
That's actually why one of the reasons why I'm planning. Haven't bought any
Right.
tickets yet, but I'm planning on going to Via Atlanta to
Ah,
one
oh,
market with
Atlanta.
everyone, to meet
Ah,
everyone
man.
specifically,
That would be
and just connect.
fantastic. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Tell me how it goes. Tell me if you meet some people and do some selfies if you
I'll
can.
live stream you
Yeah.
one of these times.
Yes, please. I would love that. I
It'll
would
be
love
5 o'clock, and I'll be like, "Hey, it's 8:30 for you, but let's go."
that. Yeah, yeah. I had like classmates with Eliza Jane Schneider's character acting academy, and like they all met at this in LA, and I'm like, hey guys, send me photos, like Photoshop me into your group photos.
Oh,
If
that's
only.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of
But
these days. One of these days.
yeah, one of these days. But actually, one of my goals, aside from having the flexibility and power to be able to do those things, like
Mhm.
meet you guys, is to have like really full control, like not being at the beck and call of like waiting for studios to message you, and it's just being at home, not having to go through the traffic. Because going to the, once you become like a studio dude, going to the city and all that, it depends on your living conditions. It takes about 2.5 hours to get there, another 3 to get back here, so that's 5.5 hours.
Ooh,
That's 5.5 hours that could have been voiceover work at home.
yep.
Yeah, so you just fill those hours, maximize it
That's
at
why
home,
Bill
and
DeWeese doesn't even do, uh, studio work.
yeah,
He's
he
like,
just
"Why?"
stays at home.
'Cause
I agree.
why commute?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant business model. I love Bill. In fact, his six-figure voiceover income book, that has been one of the foundations of my business model.
Mhm.
And yeah, yeah, he's an overall great guy. He gets a lot of flack, but he's just being honest, and
Yeah,
he acknowledges that, in business, you do you. No one should tell you where to go and where not to go.
yeah. Business is
Brilliant.
business. You
Business is
I think a
business.
lot of people, and I try to state this a lot, is voiceover is a business. If
It
you wanna be
is. It is.
successful, you have to
Yes.
think like a business, and I think that's
Yes.
one of the reasons why I released that, Zoho CRM tutorial to kind
That
of
was brilliant.
hopefully help. Again, that's just what I'm doing for now,
Right.
but
But will you by any chance have an affiliate link for that? All right,
I
you're getting yours for free. So you would, well, obviously there would be no revenue to be made off
yeah.
of that, but
But actually, Zoho
yeah.
themselves shared it over Twitter. They shared it on their YouTube and said, "People, take a look at this." I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, it's great stuff. I've migrated. It's a bit more cumbersome in terms of the interface. It probably costs me an extra 5 minutes per contact. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've reduced a lot of the fields. Like
Yeah.
maybe an extra minute. 5 minutes is too much, yeah.
Yeah.
But for now,
They do
where
have
I'm
a,
at,
a plugin as well that you can add to Gmail. So when you're on Gmail, if someone
oh,
emails you, instead of having to go to Zoho and then type it in,
oh
you
my
literally go,
gosh.
bam, it'll pop it up. It'll autofill almost everything. You make a couple of
Oh
changes, you
my
say add
gosh.
lead, and it'll automatically add it.
If you could do like a follow-up tutorial for that, that would be
I
brilliant.
was
Oh
actually
my
thinking
gosh.
about doing that. I did mention it in the tutorial, but I
Ah,
was thinking about doing a small 5-minute video or something that mentions it.
yeah. It's creating tremendous value for everyone. I even told like one of my like the voice of Nickelodeon in the Philippines. I told him like, dude, let's stop using beep, okay, because it's costing us a lot.
Yeah.
Let's just use this one. I was like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. It's great.
Yeah.
More savings.
Yeah. I am looking at voiceover voiceoverview.com, which is another CRM. That
Hmm.
one's $10 a month. I just
Hmm.
want to play with it to kind of see if it technically
Is
is
worth it.
able to save me, because right now it's like to do an invoice. Now Zoho has invoicing, so you can go to the invoice section, create an invoice, send it, and it keeps track of it. But the invoice in the
Right.
CRM doesn't connect. So if you're
Right.
on invoice Zoho, it's not CRM Zoho. So it's like I want it to be a little bit more integrated. Um,
Right.
and
Right.
maybe Zoho does have it when you do pay for their plans, but obviously
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
free
That's
version,
a possibility.
in the free
Yeah.
version, you work with what you have. Um,
Yeah. You work with it. Yeah.
but you know what?
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, you know what? running a business, voiceover is a business. People need to start
Yes, it
thinking
is.
about it if they're going to be serious. If you're doing it as a hobby, sure, keep
Absolutely.
keep doing what you're doing as a hobby. It's fun. But if you're
Yes.
serious about it and you really want to do this professionally and or just have a good side income, it's a business.
Right.
Um, and so one of the things with businesses is accounting, marketing,
Yes.
branding, all this stuff, website design. Speaking of websites, where can people go to find more about you and more about your work?
Oh, by the way, guys, my name is Dave Soltura. If you'd like to know more about me, you may visit my website at www.davesoltura.com.
Awesome. You have a
Ta-da!
Twitter?
Twitter.com/Dave Soltura VA. Yeah.
There we go.
Would love to be connecting with everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. You like that little that little transition? I
What?
had no idea where it was going. I was like, I have a perfect segue.
Yeah. That was a perfect way to get there. Okay, demos, like a lot of people invest X amount in demos. Like
Mhm.
honestly, I paid like 2000 almost $2,000 for one demo,
Mhm.
but I haven't really gotten to it yet. We started like in March. I
Yeah,
paid for it, but then I got braces, so I had to adjust. I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna record my demo with my braces.
right.
But thankfully, even with braces, I had the occasional director saying, "Whoops, I kind of heard a that was a bit sibilant.
Yeah,
Can you do
little
that
whistle.
again?" That was just very occasionally. It doesn't really do much, but
Yeah.
there was a struggle sometimes that scrapes your gums and like, I can't record anymore, bleeding.
I had
Sometimes you get
I
that.
totally had braces when I got double jaw surgery.
Oh goodness
Yeah.
gracious, yeah. But yeah, I mentioned demos because everyone invests so much there that they forget the other aspects like marketing and they're the things that you can do technically for free.
Mhm.
And if you were to invest some money, I wouldn't like pour everything into the demo. I would just look for a guy who, because what I've
Tony
heard now
Weiss,
sometimes,
plug.
yes, Tony Weiss,
Tony
yes, Tony
Weiss at
Weiss.
Immerse Productions. He is a
Yes, at Immerse
fantastic
Productions,
demo
phenomenal
producer.
guys, and their character demos, just to die for. I love his style. It's like 45 seconds, does everything, does the job.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, sometimes your branding, your professional portrait, your website, because here's the thing: the directors and producers are gonna listen to your demo first, but before they even get to your site, they see first
Mhm.
your profile photo,
Yep.
your cover photo. They see those things first, and they say a first impression is made in the first 4 seconds. So like
Yep.
even before they get to your demo, they're already assessing you. Is this person a professional? You got to be presentable enough, and you should have proper branding enough for them to consider clicking on your demo link. Yeah. So that
Plug.
that is
Website. This guy.
right. Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
We
Check out
got
the
we
website
got it
out.
all covered.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Or we're just gonna add like a look down below.
Look
Are we gonna
down.
do that? Are we gonna... yeah. Do that in
No, I
post.
definitely agree that creating a brand before you create a marketing plan, because if you don't have a
Yes.
brand, you're not you, if I see people where you have a brand on or an image on Twitter, you have a different
Right.
image on your website, you have a different image on LinkedIn, or you don't even have a website, and you're like, you need to
Right.
merge it all so that when one
Right.
person
Right.
goes from your Twitter account to your website to your Facebook, it feels
Right.
like it's one
Consistent.
consistent,
Right. Right.
which I'm
Right.
actually needing to do that on myself because I'm in the process of
Right.
redesigning my website and
Right.
switching from WordPress to Wix because I do all my designs on Wix. And so I want to, one, have all my
Yeah.
website on
Which
Wix,
is
and
great.
two, WordPress websites are meh, especially um, what you need for voiceover. You don't need a lot. Um,
Huh. That's an interesting perspective. Okay.
well,
I'm learning here.
I could
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
definitely go into a lot in terms of the differences between
The
WordPress
differences.
and the benefits, and then I could go with the differences and the benefits of Wix. I definitely have been using
Yeah.
WordPress for 8 years now, 6 to 8
Right.
years, give or take, with my photography and now my voiceover, but I see the benefits and everything else that
Right.
comes with Wix to where it's like,
Fantastic.
No, I don't need what I have on WordPress just because Wix
Right, right.
is capable of
Oh,
doing it all, and sometimes more and sometimes less, obviously.
great.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also with WordPress, you have to go to like the back door, and your designs aren't instantaneous. You do this, you do that, you make changes. You're like,
Yeah.
if they do
There's a
a
lot
website
to be done.
update, then you have to update your plugin. It's
Yes,
too
yes,
much.
yes. I
Wix
feel
has
you.
it there. So,
I used to like we had high school HTML lessons. I would, they expect like us to create websites, and Wix was very young. I think it was operating on Flash at some
oh yeah,
point.
old Wix is
Yeah, old Wix. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna use Wix and use this as my final output. Let's use a WYSIWYG website. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That
That
and
did
I
not
I
go well.
definitely have looked at Wix before I did WordPress again a couple years ago, and
Yeah,
then WordPress was hands down a better option. But now
yeah.
with what they're
Times have
capable
changed.
of doing,
That's
Wix,
good to know.
yeah, Wix does everything that you're capable of doing in WordPress. WordPress is more customized, which is great,
Right,
but you can
right,
still make a really nice looking website on Wix that can have your own
right,
personal feel and stuff like that.
right,
And so that's why it's like I would rather pay $1 more a month. It's $1 more a month. I would
right.
rather pay a
So do you
dollar
have like
more.
a Wix affiliate link?
I not
I'm kidding.
affiliated with them either.
No, I'm kidding.
No, no,
Yeah.
this is all not
Uh,
affiliated. I
yeah, yeah, I
this is,
understand, I understand.
but thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me
Thank you
for
for having me.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Slate with guest Dave Soltura. If you liked the episode, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to stay notified. I look forward to seeing you again. It's like 1 o'clock and he's messaging me.
Yeah, we're rolling, right? Oh, we're rolling. Nice mug.
Oh, thank you. It's from Target.
Yeah, where was I? Something about the rates. Gosh,